Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Smokes. Welcome back to Smokes World. Give me the dap. Bah! So, I know I haven't done a video in a while. It's probably been like maybe like 2 months. I've been going through some stuff. A lot of work. A lot of bullshit. But, yeah, man, I'm back at it, man. You know, I decided I gotta quit bullshitting. I got all this equipment. I got a nice camera and the whole setup, editing software and all that. Might as well make use of it and keep on doing these damn videos, you know what I mean? I think I'm at about 80 subscribers. I'm on the road to 500. So if y'all really could please help me out, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the dislike button if you ain't fucking with it. And don't subscribe if you want to, but I would really appreciate it if you did subscribe. Today I'm going to be reacting the Democratic presidential debate, and it's about to come here. It's about to show here in about 30 minutes. So yeah, man, we're gonna review the first maybe like 30 minutes, like the opening. You know what I mean? Not gonna do the whole entire because I think it's gonna be like a 2-hour, show. So we'll do the first, the opening statements and well, I'll react to most of like the beginning of it. And then I'll watch the whole entire thing, and at the end of this video, I'll give you a full review of what I think about it. So, yeah, some shit like that. So, yeah, man, let's get into it, man. The Democratic presidential debate. Blah! Alright, here we go. Just started right now.
Really working for.
Started with Elizabeth Warren.
For a thinner and thinner slice at the top. It's doing great for giant drug companies. It's just not doing great for people who are trying to get a prescription filled. It's doing great for people who want to invest in private prisons, just not for the African Americans and Latinx whose families are torn apart, whose lives are destroyed, and whose communities are ruined. It's doing great for giant oil companies that want to drill everywhere, just not for the rest of us who are watching climate change bear down upon us. When you've got a government, when you've got an economy that does great for those with money and isn't doing great for everyone else, that is corruption, pure and simple. We need to call it out, we need to attack it head on, and we need to make structural change in our government, in our economy, and in our country.
Pretty good opening statement.
You've called programs like free college something you might do if you were, quote, a magic genie. To be blunt, are the government programs and benefits
having a beer for the debate
are offering giving your voters, people, a false sense of what's actually achievable?
Well, first, the economy. We know that not everyone is sharing in this prosperity, and Donald Trump just sits in the White House and gloats about what's going on when you have so many people that are having trouble affording college and having trouble affording their premiums. So I do get concerned about paying for college for rich kids. I do. But I think my plan is a good one, and my plan would be to, first of all, make community college free. And make sure that everyone else besides that top percentile gets help with their education. My own dad and my sister got their first degrees with community college. There's many paths to success, as well as certifications. Secondly, I've used Pell Grants. I doubled them from $6,000 to $12,000 a year and expanded to the number of families that get covered, to families that make up to $100,000. And then the third thing I would do is make it easier for students to pay off their student loans. Because I can tell you this, if billionaires can pay off their yachts, students should be able to pay off their student loans.
That's time, thank you. Congressman O'Rourke.
Not bad, not bad.
What we've just been discussing and talking about is how much fundamental change to the economy.
This is who I wanted to hear from right here. Beto.
Doable. In that vein, some Democrats want a marginal individual tax rate of 70% on the very highest earners, those making more than $10 million a year. Would you support that? And if not, what would your top individual rate be?
This economy has got to work for everyone. And right now we know that it isn't. And it's going to take all of us coming together to make sure that it does. Necesitamos incluir cada persona en el éxito de esta economía.
Oh, shit.
Pero si
He's talking in Spanish, bro.
Necesitamos incluir cada persona en nuestra democracia. Cada votante necesitamos.
He's talking in Spanish, bro.
Cada voz necesitamos escuchar. Right now, we have a system that favors those who can pay for access and outcomes. That's how you explain an economy that is rigged to corporations and to the very wealthiest. A $2 trillion tax cut that favored corporations while they were sitting on record piles of cash, and the very wealthiest in this country at a time of historic wealth inequality. A new democracy that is revived because we returned power to the people. No PACs, no Jerry.
This is the guy I was rooting for. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm probably what you call a moderate. I'm in between. You know what I mean? But this dude Beto, a lot of people were saying when they were naming favorites like CNN or I think ABC News were naming favorites, he wasn't even in the top 5 that like they're mentioning. Due to the polls and stuff like that. I think Beto's gonna stand out. He spoke. He translated himself and spoke to the Mexican people right there. He spoke in Spanish. That was dope.
Gerrymandering, automatic and same-day voter registration to bring in more voters, and a new Voting Rights Act to get rid of the barriers that are in place now. That's how we each have a voice in our democracy and make this economy work for everybody.
That's time, sir. I'll give you 10 seconds to answer. If you want to answer the direct question, would you support a 70% individual marginal tax rate? Yes, no, or pass?
I would support a tax rate and a tax code that is fair to everyone. Tax capital 70%? At the same rate that you tax ordinary income. Take that corporate tax rate up to 28%. You would generate the revenues you need to pay for the programs we're talking about.
That's time. Thank you. Senator Booker, there is a debate
I'm still tripping. He spoke Spanish. That was dope.
Corporations, as you know. Senator Warren, in particular, put out a plan to break up tech companies like Facebook, Amazon, and Google. You've said we should not, quote, be running around pointing at companies and breaking them up without any kind of process. Why do you disagree?
I don't think I disagree. I think we have a serious problem in our country with corporate consolidation. And you see the evidence of that in how dignity is being stripped from labor. And we have people that work full-time jobs and still can't make a living wage. We see that because consumer prices are being raised by pharmaceutical companies that often have monopolistic holds on drugs. And you see that by just the fact that this is actually an economy that's hurting small businesses and not allowing them to compete. One of the most aggressive bills in the Senate to deal with corporate consolidation is mine about corporate consolidation in the ag sector. So I feel very strongly about the need to check the corporate consolidation and let the free market work. And I'll tell you this. I live in a low-income black and brown community. I see every single day that this economy is not working for average Americans. The indicators that are being used from GDP to Wall Street's rankings is not helping people in my community.
Okay, I like that. It's what everybody does. A lot of Democrats use that angle. You know what I mean? He's an everyday American. He's a, blue collar or whatever you call it. He's right there in the middle. He's like us regular people. You know what I mean? That's where he's coming from. That's what it sounds like.
Unity.
I don't know too much about this guy. I really don't.
It is about time that we have an economy that works for everybody, not just the wealthiest in our nation.
But quickly, Senator Booker, you did say that you didn't think it was right to name names, to name companies and single them out, as Senator Warren has. Briefly, why is that?
Well, again, I will single out companies like Halliburton or Amazon that pay nothing in taxes and our need to change that. And when it comes to antitrust law, what I will do is, number one, appoint judges that will enforce it. Number two, have a DOJ and a Federal Trade Commission that will go through the processes necessary to check this kind of corporate concentration. At the end of the day, we have too much of a problem with corporate power growing. We see that with everything from Citizens United and the way they're trying to influence Washington. It's about time that we have a president that fights for the people in this country who need to have someone that's a champion for them.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Warren, I mentioned you.
Not bad, not bad.
Winners and losers.
So the way I understand is there is way too much consolidation now in giant industries in this country. That hurts workers, it hurts small businesses, it hurts independent farmers, it hurts our economy overall, and it helps constrict real innovation and growth in this economy. Now look, we've had the laws out there for a long time to be able to fight back. What's been missing is courage. Courage in Washington to take on the giants. That's part of the corruption in this system. It has been far too long that the monopolies have been making the campaign
Yes.
contributions, have been funding the super PACs, have been
Not too much a fan. Not too much of a fan of her. I mean, I don't know her too well either, but I've been watching her on the news and a little bit about what she represents. And I mean, I like her, all in all. But what she's saying right here is hitting hard, man. This is the real shit right here, man. This is the real shit right here. I like what she's saying.
out there making sure that their influence is heard and felt in every single decision that gets made in Washington. Where I want to start this is I want to return government to the people, and that means calling out the names of the monopolists and saying,
Yeah.
I have the courage to go after
Yeah.
them.
Thank you.
Woo. I fuck with that. I fuck with that.
The next question is for you. Democrats have been talking about the pay gap for decades. What would you do to ensure that
I don't
women
like this guy.
are paid fairly in this country?
Thank you very much for that question, Lester. You know, I grew up with a mother who raised my brother Joaquin and me as a single parent. And I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to rent a home and to worry about whether...
They're all going to use the struggle thing. So most Democrats use, man, that angle. You know what I mean? They struggled. I mean, I'm pretty sure they did. I'm pretty sure he's not lying. But it's just kind of getting old at this point. They're using that angle, But whatever. I'm not saying it's not true or not. You know what I mean? I don't know.
whether you're going to be able to pay the rent at the first of the month. And to see a mom work very, very hard and know that moms across this country are getting paid less simply because they're women. I would do several things, starting with something we should have done a long time ago, which is to pass the Equal Rights Amendment, finally in this country, and also pursue legislation so that women are paid equal pay for equal work in this country. It's past time that we did that. And, we have to do this. If we want to be the most prosperous nation in the 21st century, we need to make sure that women are paid what they deserve.
All right, thank you. I want to put the same question to Congresswoman Gabbard. Your thoughts on equal pay?
Well, first of all, let's recognize the situation we're in, that the American people deserve a president who will put your interests ahead of the rich and powerful. That's not what we have right now. I enlisted in the Army National Guard after the Al-Qaeda terror attacks on 9/11, so I could go after those who had attacked us on that day. I still serve as a major, served over 16 years, deployed twice to the Middle East, and in Congress serve on the Foreign Affairs and Armed Services Committees for over 6 years. I know the importance of our national security, as well as the terribly high cost of war. And for too long, our leaders have failed us, taking us from one regime change war to the next, leading us into a new Cold War and arms race, costing us trillions of our hard-earned taxpayer dollars and countless lives. This insanity must end. As president, I will take your hard-earned taxpayer dollars and instead invest those dollars into serving your needs. Things like health care, a green economy, good-paying jobs, protecting our environment, and so much more.
Mayor de Blasio, good evening. You're the mayor of the biggest city in the United States, but it's also one of the cities in the country with the greatest gap between the wealthy and the poor. How would you address income inequality?
Well, we've been addressing income inequality in New York City by raising wages, by raising benefits, by putting money back in the hands of working people. $15 minimum wage, paid sick days, pre-K for all, things that are making a huge difference in working people's lives. But let me tell you, what we're hearing here already in the first round of questions is that battle for the heart and soul of our party. I want to make it clear. This is supposed to be the party of working people. Yes, we're supposed to be for a 70% tax rate on the wealthy. Yes, we're supposed to be for free college, free public college for our young people. We are supposed to break up big corporations when they're not serving our democracy. This Democratic Party has to be strong and bold and progressive. And in New York, we've proven that we can do something very different. We can put money back in the hands of working people. And let me tell you, every time you talk about investing in people and their communities, you hear folks say there's not enough money. What I say to them every single time is there's plenty of money in this world. There's plenty of money in this country. It's just in the wrong hands. We Democrats have to fix that.
Congressman Delaney,
All right. I fuck with that big time. I like that. He came out strong. He came out freaking talking like a damn preacher and shit. That was good. I like that. He made an impression.
I
think we need to do real things to help American workers and the American people, right? This is the issue that all of us here on the campaign trail. We need to make sure everyone has a living wage. And I've called for a doubling of the earned income tax credit, raising the minimum wage, and creating paid family leave. That will create a situation where people actually have a living wage. That gets right to workers. Then we got to fix our public education system. It's not delivering the results our kids need, nor is college and post-high school career and technical training programs doing that. You know, I'm very different than everyone else here on the stage. Prior to being in Congress, I was an entrepreneur. I started 2 businesses. I created thousands of jobs. I spent my whole career helping small to mid-sized businesses all over the country. 5,000 of them I supported. The Obama administration gave me an award for lending to disadvantaged communities. I know how to create jobs. We need a short-term strategy, which is to put money in the pockets of workers with the earned income tax credit, raising the minimum wage and creating paid family leave. And then we need to...
I don't trust him. I don't know. There's something about him I just don't trust. He's saying some good shit, but I don't know. He doesn't look like a man that we could trust. I don't know.
Have a long-term strategy to make sure this country is competitive and we're creating jobs everywhere in this country.
Governor Inslee, how would you address income inequality?
Well, I'm a little bit surprised. I think plans are great, but I'm a governor, and we got to realize the people who brought us the weekend, unions, are going to bring us a long overdue raise in America. And I'm proud of standing up for unions. I've got a plan to reinvigorate collective bargaining so we can increase wages finally. I marched with the SEIU folks. It is not right that the CEO of McDonald's makes 2,100 times more than the people slinging hash at McDonald's. And the next thing I'll do is put people to work in the jobs of the present and the future. Look at Donald Trump is simply wrong. He says wind turbines cause cancer. We know they cause jobs. And we know that we can put millions of people to work in the clean energy jobs of the future. Carpenters, IBW's members, machinists. We're doing it in my state today. And then we can do what America always does. Lead the world and invent the future and put people to work. That's what we're going to do.
Congressman Ryan,
Nice,
Senator Trump,
nice.
and you just referred to him, promised that manufacturing jobs were all coming back to places like your home state of Ohio. Can you make that same promise?
Yes, I believe you can. But first, let's say the president came. He said, don't sell your house to people in Youngstown, Ohio. And in his administration, just in the last 2 years, we lost $4,000 4,000 jobs at a General Motors facility. That rippled throughout our community. General Motors got a tax cut. General Motors got a bailout. And then they have the audacity to move a new car that they're going to produce to Mexico. I've had family members that have to unbolt a machine from the factory floor, put it in a box, and ship it to China. My area where I come from in Northeast Ohio, this issue we're talking about here, it's been going on 40 years. This is not a new phenomenon in the United States of America. The bottom 60% haven't seen a raise since 1980. Meanwhile, the top 1% control 90% of the wealth. We need an industrial policy saying we're going to dominate building electric vehicles. There's going to be 30 million made in the next 10 years. I want half of them made in the United States. I want to dominate the solar industry.
Thank you.
Manufacture those here in the United States.
Senator Warren, are they coming back? Are these jobs coming back?
So we've had an industrial policy in the United States for decades now, and it's basically been let giant corporations do whatever they want to do. Giant corporations.
Senator Warren, she's the main one right now, man. Everybody's thinking that she's gonna take it. I think Beto's gonna take it, man. I really think that he's gonna be going against Trump, and 2020. I really believe that. But I mean, I'm not, I don't know. She's all right. I guess.
Have exactly one loyalty, and that is to profits. And if they can save a nickel by moving a job to Mexico or to Asia or to Canada, they're going to do it. So here's what I propose for an industrial policy. Start with a place where there's a real need. There's going to be a worldwide need for green technology, ways to clean up the air, ways to clean up the water. And we can be the ones to provide that. We need to go tenfold in our research and development on green energy going forward. And then we need to say, any corporation can come and use that research. They can make all kinds of products from it, but they have to be manufactured right here in the United States of America. And then we have to double down and sell it around the world. There's a $23 trillion market coming for green products. We should be the leaders and the...
All right, we heard a little bit from everybody. Like I said, I wasn't gonna do the whole entire debate because it's gonna be 2 hours long. So we did a good 10, 15 minutes of it. Just the opening statements and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and watch this whole thing, and I'm gonna come back. And I'm gonna give you my full review what I think about the whole entire debate. I gotta say I'm going for Beto. That was dope how he started speaking Spanish. That was just a big thing right there that he just did, and I hope he pulls through. I hope they start touching on some real important subjects. You know what I mean? Just the crisis at the border, our national security, all that, man. I hope they touch on all that, and I'm pretty sure they are. So I'll be back in a little bit, man. Yeah, appreciate you. All right, real quick, they're talking about the immigration stuff, and I wanted to go ahead and put that on the video too. So here we go.
On a pathway to citizenship, and then we go to the root cause of the issue, which is we need a Marshall Plan for Honduras and Guatemala and El Salvador, so that people can find safety and opportunity at home instead of coming to the United States to seek it.
Senator Booker, what would you do on day one? And this is a situation that the next president will inherit.
La situación ahora es inaceptable. Este presidente ha atacado, ha demonizado los inmigrantes. Es inaceptable. Voy a cambiar este. On day one, I will make sure.
Okay, he's speaking Spanish too.
We end the ICE policies and the customs and border policies that are violating the human rights. When people come to this country, they do not leave their human rights at the border. Number two, I will make sure that we reinstate DACA, that we reinstate pathways to citizenship for DACA recipients, and to make sure that people that are here on temporary protected status can stay and remain here. And then finally, we need to make sure that we address the issues that made Oscar and Valeria come in the first place by making major investments in the Northern Triangle, not like this president is doing, by ripping away the resources we need to actually solve this problem. We cannot surrender our values and think that we're going to get border security. We actually will lose security and our values. We must fight for both.
If I might, very briefly, and this is an important point, my plan, and I'm glad to see that Senator Booker, Senator Warren, and Governor Inslee agree with me on this. My plan also includes getting rid of Section 1325 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, to go back to the way we used to treat this when somebody comes across the border, not to criminalize desperation, to treat that as a civil violation. And here's why it's important. We see all of this horrendous family separation. They use that law, Section 1325, to justify under the law separating little children from their families. And so I want to challenge every single candidate on this stage to support the repeal of Section 1325. 30 seconds.
As my friend here said, I agree with him on that issue, but folks should understand that the separation of children from families doesn't just go on at our border. It happens in our communities as ICE are ripping away parents from their American children, spouses and the like, and are creating fear in cities all across this country where parents are afraid to even drop their kids off to school or go to work. We must end those policies as well.
Discussion about immigration in this country, because look at the bottom line here. That tragic photo of that parent, that child. And I'm saying this as a father. Every American should feel that in their heart. And every American should say, that is not America. Those are not our values. But we have to get under the skin of why we have this crisis in our system, because we're not being honest about the division that's been fomented in this country. The way that American citizens have been told that immigrants somehow created their misery and their pain and their challenges. For all the American citizens out there who feel you're falling behind, who feel the American dream's not working for you, the immigrants didn't do that to you. The big corporations did that to you. The 1% did that to you.
Yeah.
We need to be the party of working people, and that includes the party of immigrants. But first, we have to tell working people in America who are hurting that we're going to be on their side every single time against those big corporations who created this mess to begin with. And remind people we're all in this together. If we don't change that debate, that politics that's holding us back, we won't get all these reforms people are talking about. That's what we need to do as Democrats.
Congresista, if I could, I'm sorry. Congresista O'Rourke, ¿qué haría usted en el primer día, si usted es presidente, sobre esta realidad que está ocurriendo? What would you do, Congressman, day one at the White House?
That's what I want to hear right here.
Vamos a tratar cada persona con el respeto y dignidad que merecen como humanos. We would not turn back Valeria and her father, Oscar. We would accept them into this country and follow our own asylum laws. We would not build walls. We would not put kids in cages. In fact, we would spare no expense to reunite the families that have been separated already. And we would not criminally prosecute any family who is fleeing violence and persecution. We would make sure...
Secretary, let him finish, and I will give you his policy. But let him finish. Let him finish, please. Yes.
We would not detain any family fleeing violence, in fact, fleeing the deadliest countries on the face of the planet today. We would implement a family case management program so they could be cared for in the community at a fraction of the cost. And then we would rewrite our immigration laws in our own image. Free dreamers forever from any fear of deportation by making them U.S. citizens here in this country. Invest in solutions in Central America, work with regional stakeholders so there's no reason
Talk to him, Beto.
2,000-mile journey to this country.
Secretary, I'll give you 30 seconds.
Let's be very clear. The reason that they're separating these little children from their families is that they're using Section 1325 of that act, which criminalizes coming across the border, to incarcerate the parents and then...
I just want to touch on that for a second. Immigration was getting good, so I want you to see a little bit of that and how I reacted to that. All right, I'm back. I just got done watching the Democratic debate. It was awesome, man. I liked it a lot. A lot of people surprised me. What was his name? Senator Booker. I think now I didn't really know a lot about him at first, and after hearing him tonight, I think he was probably my favorite. Senator Booker. Beto, he said, the stuff that I thought he was going to say. He touched on subjects that I knew that he was going to touch on, and he just wasn't too as vocal as I thought he was going to be. He wasn't too aggressive, and he's not an aggressive man, but I thought he was going to be a little more vocal on some things. But, I mean, he did, every time he spoke well, and, he talked, he put his ideas out there, and he talked good, and, I think a lot of people soaked it up and they liked it. But I think Senator Booker and Senator Warren, they shined. Governor, I think Inslee is his name. He did pretty good. He was one of my favorites too. Castro, he did really, really good. It was a dope ass debate, man. I can't wait to see what they got tomorrow for the other 10 candidates that'll be debating. You got, Bernie Sanders in there. You know what I mean? He's the one I like him a lot. I really do like him a lot. But I was rooting for Beto for this debate. I really was, and I just don't think that he did as good as I thought he was gonna do. But overall, man, it was a great debate. It was a really, really great debate. They touched on a lot of important subjects. They touched on immigration. That's what I wanted. That's the main thing I wanted to hear about, what their stance was and how passionate they were about it. And they're all passionate. They all pretty much feel the same way. Beto O'Rourke. Sorry if I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but Beto, I just call him Beto. He actually went out and said that he wants to decriminalize crossing the border, and that's a big fucking deal right there. Like, I think that's gonna be hard to pass. Republicans are gonna go crazy as fuck. They're gonna think he's crazy, but he pretty much wants to make it to where it's not I guess not a felony, or just wants to make it like a very lower the offense. You know what I mean? So that was a big thing tonight that Beto had said. The highlight of the night. I got two highlights of the night. Beto in the beginning, he was opening first statement. And he was talking in Spanish, and that was pretty cool. That was dope. You know what I mean? He's talking to the people, talking to the to Mexicans and Latinos in general. And the other highlight was when Booker was talking about immigration. He had some very good points. He has a bill that he's trying to propose. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's Castro, but I think Booker backed it, and he kind of put some light on that, and it sounded pretty good. So yeah, that's all I got. You know what I mean? All in all, it was a great debate. Uh, they acted pretty good. You know what I mean? They weren't they weren't too. They weren't interrupting each other too much. Every now and then they did, but it wasn't like a back and forth. They did it. They're very respectful, and that's what that's what you see a lot in the Democratic ones. You know what I mean? Republicans are a little bit more aggressive, from what I've seen. You know what I mean? I haven't seen every damn debate, but I've seen most of them for the past decade. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, those are my thoughts. If you like it, I'm not a very political person. This is me. This is a more average person. Your average motherfucking Mexican just watching these debates, and I watch this stuff. I keep up with this stuff because, this is the people. Whoever gets elected is gonna change this country. Well, hopefully they do. Hopefully they do make changes. But this is important that we know about. What's going on in our country. It's gonna affect everybody. You know what I mean? That, this is our home. This is our fucking land, and it's important to pay attention to these issues, pay attention to these debates, and see what they're coming from. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. So it's your boy Holy Smokes. Thanks for tuning in to Smokes World. I almost messed up. Smokes World. If you like the channel, please subscribe. Please like, share it on your Facebook, whatever, and stuff like that, man. I really appreciate y'all. We'll see you next time.